Hey, what's up, fantasy fans? This is Mitchell with FF Real Talk, and we're through 5 weeks of the fantasy season, and we're at the point now to where you know whether certain players you can keep, hold on to, or certain players is really worth dropping. I'm not gonna get into that right now. I was thinking I might do a video sometime this week of players that you can go ahead and cut or whatever from your lineups that you may have drafted that are still more than 50 or 60% owned. We'll see how it goes, but this right now, it's the usual. It's going to be the my week 6 editions, and we're going to start with who I deem the most important is, and it happens to be split between two. It's Charcandrick West and Knile Davis is the number one pickup of the week. Okay, there's a slight catch to this. First of all, I know nothing about West. I don't know anything about his running style, his skill, how good he cuts, how fast he is, or anything. But I do know this. The Chiefs have him as the number 2 back in the depth chart after Jamaal Charles is obviously down for the year. But what I do know is Knile Davis, and I don't quite understand this. Knile Davis, when he was spelling Charles last year on numerous occasions, was stellar. He did some great work, and I don't understand what happened I don't know, in the locker room or whatever between the team and him or whatever, or Andy Reid and him. But some type of trust must have been lost. But Knile Davis, I thought, was a stud, and I thought he would most certainly had been the number 1, but apparently it's not the case. Either way, in a good offense like that, and a team that's going to want to run the ball like the Chiefs are, whoever is getting the starting job is going to have supremely high value. But right now, in my mind, it's a 50-50 split. They might give West the first crack at it, but if he doesn't show anything in week 6 and definitely week 7, you could definitely see Knile Davis taking the mantle. So right now, far as I'm concerned, both need to be fully added across the board. Of course, all Jamaal Charles owners, if you had the misfortune of losing him in a league, which I'm in a league that I had him and I lost him, you need to, make it your extreme priority to get one of these two guys. And at the present, West has more value because it seems like he's going to get first crack, but I'm not 100% convinced that he's the clear add over Davis. So both need to be added. If you can get West first, obviously try him first. But if you don't get West in your waiver priority and you end up with Davis, I honestly don't think that's going to be the worst impediment, at least at the present, because we really don't know. We're going to have to see something because neither of them did anything this past weekend. So let's just kind of a hurry up and wait situation, but both need to be added in all leagues. Number 2, Allen Hurns. I went through a lot of last year not trusting him, but he seems to be legit for sure now. 5 games of 60 or more yards, touchdowns in the last 3, and 116 yards in both week 4 and week 5. Now, a lot of this is based on the leveling out of the learning curve between Blake Bortles. It seems like he's kind of getting it. He's turning into a solid fantasy quarterback. But the problem is he's got now an AC joint problem, which has got him questionable for the week. So I tell you what, Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson's, their value being solid right now is based on Blake Bortles' emergence at the present. So if he has any bit of anything that's going to take him down, so does their value go down. But at the present, while it seems like Blake Bortles is going to work through this with just soreness, Allen Hurns needs to be owned in all leagues for sure. Number 3 pickup, and this is a PPR gem, Theo Riddick. I don't know what it is, but out of nowhere, he has become an absolutely must-own PPR player. Not 1 carry in the backfield last week, but 10 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown on 13 targets, that's just insane. On the season, he has 30 catches, which leads all running backs. Lance Dunbar was on pace to be the best, but you saw what happened with that. But 30 catches on the season, 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. There's nothing more needs to be said. He is a must-own, especially in PPR leagues. Grab him. Number 4, Gary Barnidge. This is like the third week talking about him. He's the real deal. So by now you saw the catch where he basically caught the ball off his junk. Seriously, he's the number 1 target of right now for probably the hottest quarterback, well, the hottest surprise quarterback at the present with Josh McCown. I'm sold. I mean, at least 13 fantasy points in standard leagues in the past 3 weeks, and he scored a touchdown in all of the past 3 weeks as well. That's wide receiver 1 tier production, guys. So he's an easily top 5 tight end for the rest of the year, so he doesn't need to be on any more waivers. Grab him as soon as you can. Number 5, Antonio Andrews. I told you about this guy last year as a little sneaky pick, coming off of the bye week. And though he didn't do anything on the ground, he led the team in receiving, and that's to the chagrin of Kendall Wright. But he most definitely seems like the one to own in this committee with Sankey. That's, Sankey's just bad. So I just have this gut feeling that he's going to be a usable fantasy commodity, meaning Antonio Andrews. So just grab him if you got some problems in leading somebody for flex, because this is that point, what I call the bye week squeeze, where you're going to have possibly even holes in your lineup because you're not going to drop certain people to just fill a spot. But if you've got some people that you can waive and want somebody who can be plugged in, the Titans have gone through their bye week, so he'll be somebody who could be a plug-and-play flex guy. So keep an eye out on him. Thomas Rawls is number 6. Had a monster game on Sunday. But as I said the prior week, 100% of his value is tied to Marshawn Lynch and what he does and doesn't do in terms of playing. And rumblings are starting to suggest that Lynch is going to be playing this week. So why is he on the list? Because I don't believe Lynch is healthy. I don't care if he plays this week or not. It's certain players in the league that when they're hurt, it just seems like it's gonna linger. Seems like with Odell Beckham, that hamstring is gonna be a problem for a while. It seems like Julio Jones isn't quite right now. That's gonna be a problem for a while. I'm thinking what Marshawn is dealing with is going to be something he's going to be dealing with all year, which is going to give Thomas Rawls value because he may be not only taking a big part of the load, but could be the starter if they bench him or shelve him for a while to get him healthy. And for the fact that in the 2 of the past 3 weeks he's rushed for over 100 yards, he's got the talent. So keep an eye out. As I said before, all Lynch owners need to have him, but he has standalone value because it's just me now, I don't trust Lynch's health right now. Willie Snead is number 7. He was on my personal watch list last week. And I just wanted to see, because it seemed to be a little bit of emergence of him, but now I'm sold that he's someone to add. This is more of a function, I won't say more, but equally a function of what the Saints aren't doing as good as Snead's talent. Cooks has been, besides this week, much disappointing. Breeze isn't healthy, and Marquise Colston is completely toast. He's droppable. But Snead is creeping up with some serious value with at least 5 catches in the past 3 weeks, and he's making almost like 50% productivity leaps over the past 3 games. What he did 1 week, he doubles that, and then seemingly doubles it again nearly. So it seems like they're definitely looking at him and looking towards him. And if he's got that big play ability that he's shown, he's going to have some value. And receivers are the position that continues to emerge throughout the fantasy season. It seems like a guy that's going to do the same. So keep an eye out for Willie Snead. Number 8, Charles Sims. Just like I said last week, this guy is blazing a trail in the pass game, and he's doing it despite Doug Martin showing a few years ago Doug Martin ability in the past couple weeks. I mean, he's killing it. But Sims has scored double-digit fantasy points in the past 3 weeks. Like I said, even with Doug Martin doing what he's doing. But let me tell you what that's all about. He has taken over Austin Seferian-Jenkins's safety valve / security blanket role for Jameis Winston. Winston's going to struggle a lot this year. He's getting some better. He's getting some not so good. He's catching on enough, but he's using Sims to bail him out. That's why he's getting double-digit fantasy, and this is just standard leagues. Double-digit fantasy points. I'll tell y'all something just to break away from topic. One of my goals whenever I'm playing in a week is you're doing good if everyone scored 10. You know how they start the defenses with 10 points? If everyone in your lineup got 10, you would almost win every fantasy matchup. And that includes if everyone, like I say, even the quarterback, if everyone just got 10, but everybody, you would almost win every matchup. So in that sense, he's gotten 11 over the past. He's gotten more than 10 over the past 3 weeks. He's becoming fantasy startable. So he's definitely a flex option for you guys. So definitely keep an eye out on him. Number 9, Jamison Crowder for the Redskins. I watched a lot of this game, and I'm getting more and more impressed with what he's doing. He's got, 6 catches in week 3, 7 catches in week 4, 8 catches in week 5. And he's yet to find the end zone, but Cousins has a clear rapport with this guy. This isn't the greatest ad for the week because, again, it's Kirk Cousins throwing it to him, and it's Deshaun Jackson is slowly showing that he's going to be back, though he's one of those guys that I never trust when he's hurt to stay healthy. It's just one guy you want to temper your expectations. But he showed, I watched a lot of this game. He seemed to be in complete sync with Kirk Cousins, whatever you want to give that credit to. I mean, what is that saying? But hey, it's something. He's a starting quarterback. So if you're missing some wide receiver, depth out there, give him a look as well. And number 10, Josh McCown. I know this may seem funny because we've seen this before. A couple years back when he was spelling Jay Cutler when he was with Chicago, he was a fantasy monster. And he led all quarterbacks in week 5, 35 fantasy points. He had 22 the previous week, and he had 19 the week before that. Check this out. In only 4 games this year, and one of them, he only had 1 fantasy point. He still has 20 more points on the year than Peyton Manning. And to better illustrate that, Peyton Manning's best game of the season is only 20 points. So he's beating him for the year for what Peyton Manning's best game looks like. That's all that needs to be said. In the last 3 weeks, nearly 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. There's a lot of people struggling at quarterback right now, including all Peyton Manning owners. And he's still on the can't drop list, which is, I don't understand why. Because right now, just a side note, to me, he's droppable. Now, when I say that, I'm not telling you drop Peyton Manning because there might not be another option out there better. But I'm saying if there's somebody out there that you want to drop, that you want to pick up that's showing that they can do better, I ain't got no problem with it because Peyton Manning is a pain to own right now. Anyway, I digress. But Josh McCown is a prime guy to add for bye week fill-ins. This is, like I said, the bye week squeeze is coming, and quarterbacks are going to be, if you only got 1 quarterback, and once he hits the bye, you need somebody to fill in the usual most point getting position of the week. Get Josh McCown, and don't be afraid of it because it seems like he's for real with it. Same is Blake Bortles, so this is kind of like a 10B. Blake Bortles is 7th in fantasy points. That's another guy that'll be he's on a lot of waiver wires. He's another guy that'll be a great ad for these bye week fill-ins. It seems like Blake Bortles is getting his bearings in order. So between Josh McCown and him, 2 good ads. So but that's going to be it for this week. I had said last week that I was going to start doing these videos on Monday. That's going to start next week. I had today off, so I did. That's why I'm doing it today. But starting next week, like I said, Monday will be the day that I release these videos. So anyway, good luck in week 6. fantasy, this is getting to be one of them seasons where a lot of bad luck for a lot of people, a lot of good fortune for a lot of people. But that's the name of the game. Don't get bummed out. Don't quit on your league, and don't get to a point to where you panic. Just play the game and do the best you can. I mean, you never know what happens. So until next week, we'll see you later. Have a good one.